Hello, everybody. I'm Jalen, and today we're gonna really put some work into filling this area up with some tree houses here. And the point of these tree houses today is that they're gonna hide a few microfarms for me, start getting some of the bare essentials being passively produced while I'm hanging around here. So we're gonna build a pumpkin, a melon, a sugar cane, and a bamboo farm. But first, we're gonna need to just clear a bunch of these trees out, give us a nice blank slate to work with, and of course we'll be bringing the trees back once we have our area kind of laid out. And yeah, just got laying out the platforms. I'm going fairly big. I don't want to go too small. I want to give myself enough room to work. And I'm just having the platforms kind of lower in elevation as we work the way down the hill, so they're not all at the same height, and I think it ends up just looking really cool and coming together nicely. And yeah, I'm trying to not have the platforms just be rectangles, trying to have some interesting shape. And for the last one, I decided I was going to extend it off of the staircase going to my starter base here, and we'll just extend it out here and have it be a little higher, and I think it really balances out the layout of the tree houses here. So yeah, once I got the platforms in, I started just laying out general shapes of where I was gonna put the tree houses on top and build the microfarms in, and then just kind of shaped the platforms around them, and so that way I'll be able to walk all the way around each building and keep it easy to traverse, and put some bridges between the buildings here. Just kind of have it be a cool little treehouse land, and I like how the layout came together here. Get our first look from out here, and I was really liking the bridges between and just how they're slowly lowering in elevation down the hill, and then have the taller one up top behind. I think it's come together really cool, and I think it's going to look cool from this angle as well, and I'm liking the general size and shape. We're just going with rectangle buildings, keep it easy on ourselves for this one, but I'm liking the layout. But now we're going to go on our one and only adventure this episode. I need to get a bunch of iron to build these iron farms, because I'm going to need a bunch of hoppers, and I'm just running kind of low on iron. So yeah, I also wanted to point out, between episodes, I did get enough diamonds to complete building my diamond armor, so now I just need to work on getting it all enchanted up here. Go ahead and get all rested up. Then we're going to head up into the mountains. And I'm going to go to the cave I found in the first episode, because I know there's an iron vein in there, so that was the main inspiration for this trip. I do like having this pathway to travel on. It's really been nice. But first we're going to go to the mountains we found in last episode, just because I really wanted to get work on lighting this area up a bit. So we had it marked here to a pillar that brings us all the way down to the bottom level. And yeah, you can see from up here just how giant this cave is, even though I know you can't see very well. I know it's extremely dark, and that's my whole point of coming down here, is I want to build down here eventually, and if I'm going to do that, I need to light the area up a bit so that it's not completely horrible videos. And that ends up actually being a really big project. I also was getting rid of a bunch of shriekers as I was down here, just to keep the wardens away. I was having to deal with him quite a bit at this point, but luckily the area was just so big that I could just let him spawn in, and there was always plenty of room for me to run away in the opposite direction and just wait him out. So I was down here for quite a while, but like I said, I know the video just is not the greatest down here for right now. We are getting it lit up a little better here. You kind of see really how cool this cave is. But it's going to be a project for me to really get lit up, and I'll probably do a little of that off camera before I really go in there and make a project of building in there. But then we made a trip to the cave we found in the first episode, which at the time was the coolest cave I had ever found, and now it just seems kind of small in comparison, although it is still really cool. The layout is cool, and this big entrance into it is unique about it. But my mission right now is to just go down nice and deep where I knew we had this iron vein, and I just needed a good amount of iron, because I've got to be creating a bunch of hoppers and a few other things to get these microfarms going, and having the Fortune 3 pickaxe was definitely worth the wait, because it didn't take long before I had 6 stacks of iron here, and I've still got plenty of iron vein to work with. I know there's other areas with it extending in that mountain, so I think it's a big vein. But yeah, got back to the base and created a few extra smelters to speed up cooking the iron a little bit, and then just got creating all the resources and items I needed to get going on building these microfarms here. I did change things up. I was planning on the bamboo being down there, but I'm actually going to do it up here because bamboo is the most efficient farm, so it can be the smallest, which this is the smallest building. So yeah, I'll actually take you through the process here. You kind of find out where you want your bamboo planted and put some hoppers into a chest, then hoppers into each other. And then on top of the hoppers, you put some mud blocks because hoppers can pick up items through mud blocks, which is a very nice update when it comes to making little farms like this. Yeah, as I went, I was just building up. You skip a row above the mud bricks, or the mud blocks, I'm sorry, and get some pistons facing to knock the bamboo out of the way, and then observers above them facing to observe when a bamboo grows in front of it. And then you bring a block up between the two and put some redstone on to make sure that they're connected to each other, and essentially that's the basics of the farm. You can see, put a block in front of an observer. It's gonna push all the pistons out, which will chop the bamboo down. And like I said, the bamboo farms are really efficient, so this is gonna produce a lot more than you might think. Get it all encased. We're gonna come make it look pretty here in a second. Ran out of bamboo wood there, but yeah, it's a nice simple farm, and I think since I'm going to be around here so much, a lot more than I was in my spawn area as far as being close to the microfarms, I think these are going to be even more efficient. So go ahead and sleep through the night again, and then it was time to do the melon farm, which this will be the same as the pumpkin farm, so I'll kind of bring you through this one as well. For this one, we need to do a rail line because you can't plant pumpkins in the mud. You actually need the tilled dirt, so we need it to be able to pick up through dirt. So we just get our rail all set up here, making sure there's plenty of power for it to keep going nice and speedy. Then get a hopper going into the chest here with a couple hoppers going into it, and rail line going up top, and you need the block here to send the rail or the cart going back and forth. So forgot to put a couple redstone lamps to power these rails. And at this point, the cart should be running pretty good. We've got building things up. Above where the cart's running is where we're actually going to put our dirt, where we plant the pumpkins. So we get that in and get the pumpkins planted, and they'll only grow onto that dirt behind it once we build the walls up and get it all encased, that is. And then observers observing some of the pumpkin seeds. You don't need to do every one. You could, but I like to save on resources a little bit. We fill these in with just cherry wood for now, but we end up coming and changing it with some jack-o'-lanterns to give some light and help things grow. And you got to have the pistons facing the right way down into the dirt to knock the pumpkins off when they grow off the stalk there. And yeah, just get it all encased here. And we got ourselves a working melon farm, which is exactly how we're going to build the pumpkin farm as well. I do place the lights up here, and I'd realize a little later that I forgot to put the redstone here, so you'll see me put the actual redstone in there to make it work. So at this point it wasn't actually working, but we got it all fixed up. So now we got 2 more farms to build, and they're identical to the first 2 we built. So we're going to kind of just fly through these here a little bit. I did change out the block type for the sugarcane farm to be sandstone, just because I think that'll go with the theme of the sugarcane farm a little better. And I lost a clip of me putting the water in here, but the only difference between the sugarcane and the bamboo farm is you got to have the water next to the mud blocks to be able to plant the sugarcane. Unfortunately, the clip cut out right before I placed it, but other than that, it's the exact same as the bamboo farm. And got ourselves a working sugarcane farm, and then came over and got to work on the pumpkin farm here, same as the melon farm. And trading with a farmer is my favorite villager to trade with. Just pumpkins and melons are easy to come by, so as long as you get them producing passively really helps. And I just like getting the golden carrots. You can see I got putting the redstone on there, and then I remembered to come down here and get the redstone on this one so that it would work. And at this point, we've got 4 working microfarms here. I'm really liking how everything's coming together, and just this idea of the tree houses is growing on me all the time. But we did have a sad instance here. I was walking around here and I realized we've lost Jamie. He's been with me this whole time here. I should have given him a safe place to live, but I liked him being my little partner in the boat. So lesson learned on there. Next time I'll be a little safer with the fox. I thought he would be safe in there for whatever reason, but yeah, now we gotta put a little work into making this place look a little better. I was pretty anxious to get started, so I got filling in the bamboo here, but it didn't take me long to realize that I'm gonna need quite a few resources to actually get this project done here. So I needed to do a little gathering session, so came out and planted some trees. I was going to need some acacia wood. I tried using bone meal to get this first one to grow, but it took 5 bone meal, so I decided that's not going to be worth it. So we'll wait out the trees to grow a little bit, and I figured a good way to pass that time would be to farm my fields and let the trees and the bamboo grow here for that matter. And yeah, I'd always enjoy a good farm session, especially now that I have a Fortune 3 pickaxe. It makes it even more worth it. It's nice having our little hidey hole here is going to kind of turn into our storage for all our farming goods. So I'll get some use out of it. A lot more use than my original hidey hole at my spawn area. Yeah, you can see this thing's just filling up with potatoes and carrots like crazy. I do go ahead and farm every crop here, and I got some melons planted. I didn't realize I didn't have any melons planted. And in that time, a few trees grew, and a little bit of bamboo grew, and I'm not going to show you all the times of me going back and forth and getting a few of those. And I did check the bamboo farm, and it already produced a good amount of bamboo, considering I really haven't been here for that long. So that just shows you it's going to produce more than enough bamboo for me at least. I did see that creeper on my way down here, but I thought I was safe. I didn't know there was a place for him to get up here. And that is a very unfortunate death. I was at level 31. I had been procrastinating for whatever reason on putting some enchants on my armor there, and that's a pretty big setback there. So worst death of the season so far, for sure. And it was kind of in an unfortunate spot. Kind of annoying to put back together. Yeah, like I said, I forgot that I had put a block down to be able to get up here at one point. I thought I was safe being in the trees. But a good way for me to recover from a bad death is to do my favorite thing, which is placing down some blocks. I finally start building up these tree houses here and bringing the area to life a little bit. I am trying to incorporate spruce into all the builds. Since we're working with these crazy colors, I think spruce just will kind of mellow things out and bring things together a little bit. I do end up trading it out with strip spruce just because I think it looks better. And yeah, you can see we're just kind of going with the same cabin style build that we've done in all our builds over here so far. It's just a typical way to build in Minecraft, but we've got enough variation going on that it actually looks pretty well coming together. And yeah, we're just kind of being heavily inspired by the lodge that we built here a couple episodes ago. Just that typical rectangle with a nice high roof, and it'll look cool when we get a few of them together down here. Stepping out of the lodge for the first time and getting this view, and it's got me real excited. I really just like the size and the scale and the colors, and same from this side as well. It's really making this area feel a lot bigger and just really coming together. Yeah, like I said, traded these out with strip spruce just because I think it ends up looking a lot better. I started going around and putting a border on the platforms here and just using full spruce log there. So I needed a bunch of wood, so I went and got some more spruce as well as some dark oak, because I'm going to need a bunch of that for the trim on the roof. And then I just got placing the blocks here, definitely going through the spruce. I did use dark oak as kind of the corners to cover up the core of the wood rather than using a full spruce log because those are so expensive. And definitely looks better with the strip spruce as the trim here. And as we're being heavily inspired by the lodge over here, I am going to copy the roof and just do it the exact same way with the nice open face of the building here. And I think just doing the same kind of trims for all these buildings is definitely working out to just kind of bring them all together, and I think it looks nice. So we got placing the stairs and blocks, working our way up the roof here. And this is something that you just get better at with practice. When you're first learning roofs, it can go kind of slow, but at this point I'm fairly fast with working my way up a roof here with some trim. We also went around and extended the roof out just a little bit, just make things look a little better. Then we got filling in the roofs, which I'm using tough block and deep slate block just because that's what I happen to have the most of, but it also works out because it looks nice. But I did go through the majority of my resources. I'm looking pretty sad when it comes to stone types and things like that. But definitely well worth it because we got things looking pretty good at this point. As always, getting the roofs put in is such a big part of the building process, and really when things start to come to the next level. And I couldn't be happier with how things are looking here. Took a lot of work to get to this point. Obviously still got blank faces on the buildings though, so we got a little bit of work to do. I was in a pretty good building mode, so I just kept my head down and went through each building individually, hiding any of the exposed parts of the farms and getting windows installed. And I'm using the same wood type for the window borders just because I thought it'd be cool to create a little depth without the contrast. I went around with fences around the border, and I'm using the same kind of plants on the outside as whatever the farm is. I thought that just kind of makes sense. It'd be a cool touch. And yeah, just kind of went through my assembly line process like I do sometimes and put a little work into these buildings, and slowly but surely things are coming together. I really like that we're getting some color brought into the area. Anytime you can add color, as always, just a huge thing to try to do in your Minecraft world. And don't be afraid to be experimental and a little risky with it. It usually ends up looking a little better than you might have thought. Yeah, getting these big windows overlooking the waterfront, it's just really bringing the area together here. Obviously, to get the sugarcane planted, it took a little waterlogged stair trick, which worked out real nice. My first time doing that, actually. I might actually start doing that a little more often just to give me another thing to be able to plant in front of a building and vary things up a little bit. I was trying to go with some round windows with a nice big round border on them, and I really had fun with it, and I think they look really good and give each building a little bit of character. Stepped out to take a peek here, and I realized I need to get another window in a couple of these buildings here, but we're looking pretty good. But I knew I was going to need a whole bunch of spruce wood because we need to get some trees strategically planted here that are going to be holding up the tree houses. So I went around and found some good spots for some trees, and while I was waiting for them to grow, I went around and did a little shading on all the buildings here, kind of just imagining where there would be a shadow and just come with a little bit of a darker shade of wood there, and I thought it ended up looking really good. And then once the trees grew, I had to extend them all the way down to the ground level. Some of them ended up being a little longer than I might like. And yeah, I got those last couple windows put in here, and I'm really happy with where we're at. Getting those trees planted, holding up the houses really brings things together here. We'll go ahead and step back here just so you can see this revelation you get when you're coming up the path here, which I think is really cool. I'm all about having cool view revelations, and this is definitely going to be one here as I work on this area. Yeah, getting those pops of colors is really nice. Take a peek from out here, and it's looking just as cool, especially at nighttime, nice and bright. But we will go ahead and go to sleep just to get the rain away and look at things in the daylight. But I'm super happy with the area. I think once we get turn a couple of these trees into custom trees, it'll really make a difference. And there's lots of landscaping. There's definitely a few things I still need to do, but I've been working pretty hard at this, and I want to get the episode out, and I figured we're at a decent enough spot. But yeah, obviously I need to work on some connections here and fancy up the interiors a little bit. I should mention a flaw in my system is that this lever locks the hopper underneath it, so you have to come and turn the lever off for the hopper to empty into the chest here. So I'm going to need to figure that out. So that's a little flaw in my system, but it's not that big a deal because as long as you do that every now and then, there's 3 hoppers there. It's going to take a long time for that to fill up. And the sugarcane farm's working great, though. See, we got some sugarcane being produced just in our time being here, which really hasn't been too long. Check out the melon farm here, and just like the pumpkin farm, the hopper gets locked with the switch turned on, and apparently I came and turned the switch off and never turned it back on, so it hasn't been picking up melons for the last little while here, but it is producing melons. I just got to remember to turn the switch on. I know it's an easy fix. I just got to figure out a better way to power this powered rail up here, but I'll figure that out off camera. And then yeah, got our bamboo farm up here, which, like I said, the smallest of them all, but I've already probably gotten 4 or 5 stacks of bamboo out of here, and it's still got those, so it's producing bamboo like crazy. It'll produce more bamboo than I need. And I'm just really liking the idea of this microfarm area up here, and we'll add a couple tree houses in with a couple other farms around the area, and that's just located better than my spawn area microfarm area. It's closer to my base. I feel like they're going to be working a lot more than the ones I built in my spawn area on season 1. Yeah, one last peek from out here. Just an awesome view from the water here. And I think getting the little bit of texture and the shade I was going for just really stands out if you look for it here. Getting some shade under the windowsills there. Getting the view built up as we enter our area here, and like I said earlier, I'm just really liking this whole treehouse idea I got going on. I really like the little bamboo farm up here. A little smaller than the others, but high above them. And yeah, I'm really liking this treehouse idea we got going on, and I'm looking forward to expanding on that. But yeah, to end things here, I got to give you all a humongous thank you. Just a couple hours ago, I hit 1,000 subscribers, which is actually really hard for me to believe, and I don't even know what to say. I gotta say, when I started this whole journey, I did not expect that it would turn into what it's turned into here, and at this point, I'm just really looking forward to building on it, and I'm really having fun with it. So with that, we're gonna call it an episode here. I really do appreciate you all for coming, and have a good day.